Hello.
Hey, everybody. Hello. Good morning, Reaper people. How are you? Hey. Hey, Scientologist. Hey, it's Bug Lips. Hey, it's all sorts of things. I see a little bit of chat that is not saying hello to me yet. Yay! Good afternoon. Yay!
Yes. Good morning, everybody.
Time to work and lurk. Yes, exactly. That's exactly. In my case, I am working and lurking at the same time. I'm just lurking on your chat.
Good morning, Robin
Good morning,
Borwinder.
Paul John's Life. Good morning, Vimanaqua.
Jedi Jared. I saw you speaking in
yes.
Cthulhu to me at the beginning of the show. Thank you for that.
Like Justin needs to lose more sanity points, you guys. Come on, have some mercy here. He works for Reaper, for God's sake. Yeah. It's already a fight.
Thank you for the bits there, Numbat.
Hello, Robin. Hello, Numbat. Oh, Numbat gets its bits. Yay! They're shiny purple bits, too. I totally approve of shiny purple
like
bits.
That, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how is everyone this morning, afternoon, evening, night?
I always feel like these streams are, they're not that early in the morning, but they're early enough that, like, I feel like we're still trying to get set. So every time they fire off, it's just like a, you know? But then once it gets going, it's great.
Yes, it is. Well, it is early. Like, it really depends. Like, everybody has an optimal time to be working. And actually, this is something you guys can even track for your miniature painting if you feel like it. Paint at different times of the day or evening and see which time of day is optimal for you. When do you get the most done? When is your focus the best? You know, that sort of thing. So for me, my optimal focus time is probably between noon and 3. That's like when I'm really, like, I can really get focused down and get some serious work done. So even though it's 11, I'm still not, like, quite to that. So I'm alive and I'm happy and I'm bouncy, but I'm not quite, like, zeroed in yet. Yeah. 6 a.m., oh, that's almost indecent, Robin. Anything before 6 a.m. is definitely indecent. Hi, Trasharama. Is that a John icon I see?
Yeah,
we have a John mote now.
Not John. Trash has sent us a handful of emotes here, so we got a Dave one. We got John.
Yeah, I saw the Dave face.
And we got this soon TM in the white.
Good. Yes, that's very good. These are great, guys. Thanks for, like, did Trash put these together? Or?
He did.
Wow, although Trash, you are totally talented.
I realize now, though, Trash, not to look a gift horse in the mouth, but can we get the TM stroked on that soon?
TM a little brighter.
Yeah. Well, it just needs a stroke. It needs a
or
shadow.
It needs an outline.
One of the two, yeah.
Needs a black stroke around it so it stands out. Because otherwise it disappears against yellow because it's tiny.
But outside of that, Trash, this is working out great.
Bug Lips, that is a strategy, isn't it? Okay, the John face with the snowman arms is pretty good. Wow, we've got everybody.
Thy will be done. Trash, coming to the rescue.
Yes, we appreciate it. That's Justin being like a Kibitzy art director, by the way.
It's great. It really is.
It's a thing.
I am glad that our community, not only is our community amazing, but they help us with stuff like this because they know how insanely busy we are.
You remember, like, with the first couple Kickstarters, how they did, like, metrics and stuff for us? Because they were so excited about everything?
Yeah,
that was great.
Actually, Trash, yes.
Oh, no.
But Anne's could be, you could get inventive with Anne's if you want to. It doesn't just have to be her face.
Steal my painting Big Dragon.
You could do that.
Funny Anne pose to match Ed. Oh, please no. Okay, you guys, this is like a secret of, okay, not so secret about Anne, but because I used to be really overweight, I really am self-conscious about cameras. And so I'm not, like, seeing my face on the screen just makes me cringe. So you're not going to get a really funny face out of me. Please don't. You know, like if anything, we need the Zen pose. We need the Zen pose. So.
Yeah, I was thinking like,
it's like grasshopper.
Yeah.
Happy dancing paint bottle.
Hey, Planer, how you doing?
Oh, Bug Lips, you're always so great with that timing. I'm sure Justin would love for you to flood his inbox with stupid questions. There are no stupid questions, though. At least ask questions.
You could use the Painting Big logo.
You could.
That's not bad.
Yeah. I think it's around here somewhere. I gave it to Justin long ago, or you can kind of nip it from my website or from my Patreon.
And that's the thing, too, Trash.
Hey, Planer, how's it going?
Ooh, thank you for the Twitch Prime.
Yay, thanks, Holt Mini Paint.
Yes. If you need any, like, the original high-res graphics for that kind of stuff, Trash, I will happily supply you with it.
Pokey Tool emoji would be awesome.
A Pokey Tool emoji would be great?
The Pokey Tool with the cork, even, with the cute little tiny cork, because we love the cute little tiny cork.
But just let me know, Trash, if you're willing to help me, which you are.
Gravy is absolutely a fruit, and you should plant Christmas ornaments in your garden because they're low-maintenance Bug Lips.
Okay. On that note.
Zen and Paladin style. Yeah. Well, I do play a lot of Paladins and Clerics, so there you go. There you go. But yeah, you could probably do a smiling Ann face, and I wouldn't cringe quite as much as I used to. Now that I'm skinnier, I'm a little better about cameras.
Ed's house brush emoji.
Yes, you do need a house brush emoji. You
Trash.
Absolutely do.
Clearly, your daytime job is just making emojis.
Yes.
So if you're taking notes, just saying. These
Do
are
we
all.
have a little Mama San head with angel wings and a little halo yet?
That was one I was personally working on.
Okay.
So no, we don't have it yet. But
Okay,
I wanted it.
We do need that.
I do want it in the style that we have the other one.
Yeah, a
so.
lot of people are photo shy and camera shy planner. It's like I've gotten practiced enough at it now to be comfortable with it, but it takes a while, especially when you don't feel great about the way you look. So losing the weight really helped with my confidence on that, and I don't feel bad about it anymore. So it's cool. Yay for the keto diet. It was my saving grace. All right. You should plant ornament-shaped carrots. That's what you should plant. Sculpt your carrots into Christmas tree ornaments, and then you're great, right? I suppose we should actually paint instead of just chatting on stream. I mean, I don't mind doing a just chat with the Reaper audience stream, at all, but hey, Reapers, my addiction, how's it going? Yeah, Rings Raccoon, what I found is, I did theater in high school a lot, actually, and I also sang in choir on stage. And so what I found is that the video work I find to be a lot less stressful that way, because you're still like alone or just with Justin, in my case, in a room. You're not like directly up in front of people. So it makes it a little easier and a little more fun. Because I'm talking to the camera and then everybody. And so I don't know, it's a little different for me. It's a little different than actually being in front of people, like up on the Reaper stage doing the award ceremony at ReaperCon.
And the actual fluorescent lights are off in the room because we got new studio lighting.
Oh yeah, Justin got snaztastic little studio lights that look like little camera noses. They're really interesting, and they're really bright. He's gonna blind me.
Don't look straight at him. No, don't do that.
He's gonna blind me before my stream. And they're much warmer and cool. So not cool, but warm.
But I say that because now basically it's dark in here everywhere, but on Ann, and I'm still not wearing pants.
I am illuminated. They're very bright, and I shouldn't have just looked at them. I'm still seeing spots. Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, because when Justin talked about them, I glanced at them, and now I see spots. I'm like seeing spots over chat, I'm seeing spots over on the monitor, I'm seeing spots on the koala. We don't want a spotted koala this morning. Circus arts, you just hate cameras. Well, Rings. Yeah, but then Rings, you got to ask yourself why you're doing it, right? Like, I really feel like at Patreon in the workshops, they always teach us, don't ask yourself just what your audience would like. Ask yourself what you would love to give your audience. So if you're trying to do video work or stuff like that and you really hate it, like, give it a chance, because you can think you hate it and then get accustomed to it and really love it. Like, when I first started Twitch streaming, I was just like, well, do I like this or not? But now I love it. Now, like, getting on here every morning with you guys is fantastic. It's a great start to my day. So do give it a chance, but if after you give it a chance, you really don't, it's not for you, look for some other way to engage with your audience. Yes, it's Ann Achilles Blade. Good morning. Hi, Sigwolf. Well, Ed has tried to do that, Sigwolf. He wanted me to make dirty names for the paint, and I'm really resistant to it, because with Reaper's family-friendly focus, I really feel like it's not us. So the closest we've ever gotten is like the Morning After Blues and Stark Naked paints and the Prom Night Pink. Those are the only ones. He always wants me to make nipple paints, and I'm just like, no. Drown Nipple Pink is the only one. Aw, thanks, Twisted Elma. You're so sweet. Yes, cameras do steal a piece of your soul, but I don't have like that much to give, so it's like micro transactions at this point. I should be okay as long as I don't nickel and dime my soul to death. I like to think that I get some soul back from my audience. All right, MSO. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Tutorial Angel. Yes, I really think that family-friendly is the way to go. I know that Ed gets a little bit like Ed-ish every once in a while, but I personally feel like family-friendly is the way to go. That way everybody can watch, right? I mean, I think the youngest person on my Patreon is 14 or 15. And technically, I mean, if their parents paid for the subscription, I could get a 10-year-old on my stream. I want them to be able to watch it and not have the parents worry, and to be accessible to everybody, whether you're like 10 or 100. Oh, yes, and of course, now it is the time to say there's our bushfire fundraiser with Victoria Miniatures and Trenchworks, and then, of course, we've got our own fundraiser for the RSPCA of Australia to help with the wildfire support and relief. And good. Yeah. Eddish. Yes, Eddish. It's like if you speak Eddish. Or if you speak Eddishly. Oh, we could make him an adverb. He's bad as an adverb. We don't want that. My Patreon is patreon.com/paintingbig. All one word. That would be my Patreon. And I love it. And I'm almost to my $1,000 goal. And that's so exciting because then Patreon does all sorts of cool things for you. You can enroll in their merch program and you can like have them send out stickers for people's anniversaries and, you know, with the Patreon and all that. It's so cool. I can't wait to get there. I've been wanting in on that merch program for so long, but it's in beta and they won't let you like trial it unless you get to the $1,000 mark. So we're really close. I think I've got less than $70 to go. So hopefully we can pick up a few new subs. But yeah, awesome. All right, so we probably should stop chatting, Justin.
Yeah.
We probably should actually paint this morning. What do you guys think? Should we actually paint this morning? I don't know. I leave for Yosemite tomorrow, and I am so excited, and I'm just like, today is a vacation. It just feels like a Friday. I'm just like, yeah, whatever, let's hang out. All right.
On that note,
yeah,
let's
go to
paint this
Minicam.
koala.
Yeah, go to Koala Cam. Let's get us Koala Cam. So today, I thought we'd work on the greens and our little plant pot. Currently, I have it stuck into the sticky tack down here, which is not a bad place to have it. It sticks, actually, this is mounting putty, so it's a little stronger. It does pretty well for this sort of thing. So I can kind of leave my little tree down there, and I'm going to grab my colors for the pot. Now, we used to have a terracotta triad, but it was a bit too pink, and it wasn't real popular. So what I did is I reformulated it, and since I'd wanted to do this for a while, I made it into the redstone triad. And this works great for dirt, like Martian soil, or even like, you know, up in Oklahoma when I drive up there for puppy evaluations, I always see all the red dirt with a lot of high iron content in it. We've got some of it down here in Texas too, and I really wanted that color because it's really an interesting color to use if you want an alternative that's not just brown for soil, but that still looks natural. So what you can do in addition to, you know, to using it for redstone is use it for things like terracotta. So if you're ever doing a statue, old statues, that could be terracotta or plant pots for your scenic terrain. This is a great color for that. The other thing that this color I feel is really good for is I tend to use it as a ground color for like tiefling skin because they're demonic. So it seems to me that their skin tones might be a little bit more reddish, or at least, you know, some tieflings. I guess tieflings can be all sorts of things now. But I like using it as like the ground layer and then mixing other skin tones into it for tieflings. I think it works really well that way. Or hellborn, or whatever you want to call them. Whatever you wish. Yeah, the redstone stuff is really good. Yay! Oh, did we get more bits? We get more bits? Yay, bits! Oh, woof woof. Oh, there's the corgi. It's a cute little corgi emote. All right. Yes, yeah, I believe it, Rhonda. Yeah, and I think I've seen that because I did actually drive through Tennessee one time coming back from South Carolina, I think. So, yeah. Yeah, there are all sorts. Dirt comes in so many different colors because of the mineral contents, and you really get some interesting stuff. You can get some really yellow dirt, too. I'm going to get my paint water jar over by me so I'm not dropping drips everywhere. And I think we'll start with redstone and we'll work up with highlight. And I'm actually going to paint the entire pot with this, and then I'm going to worry about the little freehand designs on it. I probably should hold it by its little top, though, since I'm actually painting the pot. Come here, koala. Hang out. Say hi to people. Be friendly. Yeah, one of my favorites is Ruddy Leather 109. We'll be using that for the leather on the koala. So yeah, and as you can see, the redstone triad also covers pretty well, so... This is just it helps if I have my glasses on, though. I'm like, oh, this is blurry. Why is it blurry? Oh, yeah, because I'm blind. Yay. All right. I could put a little more water. I'm getting a little streakiness, and that usually means you need just a little more water in your paint. Just a tad of water helps the paint spread happier. We get a nice solid coat on there, and then we can use the redstone highlight for highlights. And we want to get the upper rim too. It's a little bit hard to hold, but at least it has a big bushy top. I could technically have mounted this on a wire and it'd be a bit easier. You could then sink the wire into a little block like this. I'm not worried about it too much right now. I might get worried about it in a moment if I can't paint all of it, and then I have to hold it while it dries. That's the downside, right? But it shouldn't take too long to dry, Anne says, hoping that it's actually pretty warm up here today, so it should dry pretty fast. Ooh. My mom gets seasickness really easily too, Rings, and it's bad because my dad loves cruises. So for years she just kind of took meds and suffered, and then she laid down the law. Oh, hey, thanks for the sub, George Hintz. But yeah, she laid down the law. She's like, no more cruises. Which I think she went on enough. The one that finished her was the Patagonia cruise, where they went all the way down and back up. And they hit a storm, like a really bad storm coming back up the East Coast. And yeah, Mom was like, okay, that's done. I'm done. No more cruises. Oh, I knew that was coming. Man, the puns. It's too early for puns. Oh, wrong red, Anne. You gotta put some water in that. I do love these redstone colors. I really, really, really like them. Some of my faves. Just trying to get a nice solid coat on here. So I'm lightly brushing over the top of my previous coat. Yeah, Mom had to medicate herself pretty bad, Rings, to get to not have Vomit Town happen, pretty much. There we go. Oh yeah, this is a great mini to paint as a family project, actually. Yeah, no kidding, Buglips, right? He was just like, screw it, I don't care. I'm not going to let the seasickness, like, get me. Reaper Collins, blam!
I'm going to go ahead and refund that sub.
You gonna refund that sub?
I'm going to refund that sub.
Oh, but it's his Twitch Prime sub. It doesn't even cost him anything.
Yeah, and I don't want Collins as free money.
Oh, man, Collins. He's giving you the cold shoulder, man. Doo-doo. Updated number. On the fundraiser, Rathmore? Oh, we don't know yet. It's only been live for, what, 2 days? It went live on Tuesday, didn't it, when I did my stream?
Koala-ty? We've raised $13,000.
Oh, there we go. There you go, Rathmore. I don't know if that's updated. Is that as of right now, or is that's? Oh, I see. We have a tracker on our page. Tracker. You can just look at it on reapermini.com, and it's updating.
Yeah, it looks like we're at 13,000.
13,000 is good. I would love to see us get to like something crazy like 100K. That would be awesome. Oh. Fantastic.
No problem, Malin.
All right, now what am I going to do?
I like to just sub bomb all of our people in our community if I can get around to it.
Yeah, spread the sub love. Spread the sub love. That's what happens when you give Justin money. He like gives it away. This is the best use for money, in my opinion, to make other people happy. All right, I'm going to get some walnut because I want to block in that little design in walnut so that I can do pretty bright colors on it. And I want it to stand out, so we'll start with walnut. Man, my nose is itchy today. All this wet is probably triggering a whole bunch of mold. That is my one. That and animals are my two allergies, but I just ignore the animal ones and live on Zyrtec.
I don't know, Numbat. That's a good question. I don't know if we're doing intervals or if we plan. I assume if we plan to hit this 25K within the next week, we'll probably send one lump sum, but I actually don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, that's a financials question. That's a Reaper Dave question.
That's a perfect question tomorrow for Reaper Dave.
Yeah. For sure. I'm just adding some water to my paint just to get it all nice and ready. Probably my initial mixes for base coating are around 4-to-1 paint to water. Gives me a nice smooth base coat. It spreads on fast. I might need to do a touch-up to make it a little more solid depending on the color, but that's not a big deal. All right, I am also going to get that walnut in to the bottom here where the dirt is, and I'm going to base coat the trunks with it as well. Since the trunks are just kind of, there's like little just little projections. I want a dark background color, and then I can pick them out with a lighter brown. So we want to do that now before we start putting on a whole bunch of detail, because then if we accidentally paint over things like our leaves or something, we can just fix that. Anything, huh? Go ahead.
Sorry, Rathmore asked if we had done similar fundraisers in the past to this one. To my knowledge, it goes as far back even as 9/11. We did a mini for that, didn't we? I believe
We did. We did like
fundraiser.
a whole bunch. Yeah, we've done so many. I know there were already ones in existence when I started here, and I started in, and does math, 2013 or no, 2003. 2003.
We did a couple for hurricane relief. We did.
Yeah, there was a wizard for hurricane relief.
Wizard, yeah. So typically speaking,
And an elephant.
we do tend to do these fundraisers.
Yeah.
Because these people need help. So
Yeah, Reaper has a long history of doing that. It's one of the cooler things about our company. It's because Ed may like play the bad boy, game, but he's totally a softie.
I'm sorry that it auto-modded that twisted. It thought cans was something more than it was.
Oh dear.
But I'll go ahead and allow the word cans.
Dear. Oh dear. That means you can't say can. Yeah, Josie, I'm lucky. My pet allergies are very mild, and so a Zyrtec a day easily handles them. I also acclimate to my own animals. The biggie is when I go over to somebody else's house and they've got an animal I'm not acclimated to, then I have to take my Zyrtec, like an extra Zyrtec, right before I go. But yeah, I love animals and I wouldn't not have them, so.
They shouldn't be out of stock. I don't think. I think we're just selling these because we're making them in-house. So
Yeah.
they shouldn't. I don't think they're inventory
Yeah,
control,
unless
are
we
they?
were falling behind. But if so, it should only take 24 hours to restock, guys.
Right, yeah. So I would just check regularly. There should be some
Who's
back.
Question about light source. When painting the rear of the model, is it ideal to have the light source move around as well? That's what Sergio advises, and I think so. I think I do too, Cooves. Unless you're trying to do a really dramatic effect and you have it in mind to keep the back of the model mostly dark, keep in mind that keeping the back of the model in shadow doesn't necessarily mean you don't highlight it. It just means you don't bring it up as much, and you're probably going to keep it desaturated. So, you could get some really cool effects. You could also put a secondary light source, like a glowing thing on the back of the model if you're keeping it mostly in shadow, and that can be very interesting. Like if you had a character with a potion bottle on the back of the belt, you could have that potion bottle kind of glow a little bit and to give visual interest to the back. But yeah, Sergio, he pretty much does like a frontal overhead light source here, and then he assumes the same light source here, which if you're outside, that's what's going to happen. So, unless you've got like the sun or a light that's moving more toward the horizon, you're going to see. And even if you've got a light source that's kind of up here, and so technically the back of the model will be in shadow, you'd have a lot of reflected light coming back up on the model. So keeping it, it really, you can still like make things interesting even if most of your light is coming from this direction.
Also, Planner, what did you mean by suggestions for the Discord bot? You mean for like things it should block? Or
yeah,
are you
NMM.
talking about?
Sorry, I'll get back to you, Coops,
No,
in
go
a
ahead.
second. I was going to say, NMM is a little different because obviously you're, at that point, you've got to pay attention to the direction of your light. And again, Sergio will just assume the same light source from the back. Like he'll just kind of assume that it's kind of in an arc over the figure. If you didn't want to do that, then you'd have to mostly work with reflected light on the metal surfaces, and you'd have to think about where those highlights might be, and that would be tricky, very tricky. So I think that's why Sergio mostly just uses the same light source front and back. Yes, exactly. Yep, exactly, Coops. Yeah, you do. You have to move the lamp around to make sure you get your light. I think that doing it that way, doing it Sergio's way, or having the same light source on front and back is a lot easier and makes it makes more sense visually to somebody who's looking at the model, because they turn the model around and obviously then the natural light, whatever the light's in the room, is on the model. So you have to, doing part of a model in shadow, in forced shadow, is actually harder than people think to have it read convincingly. And Rhonda, that's cool that your allergist said that we actually get immunized to our own pets. That's fantastic. It was definitely the case for me as a kid with our dogs, and certainly the case with me with our Shilohs and our cat. Okay, just making sure I'm catching up on chat here. 3-point lighting system is evil. Although that's just, I've seen people try to do that, Riot. They get really ambitious and they're like, I'm going to have an overhead light source, then I'm going to have a neon light source on the other side of the model, and then I'm going to have a glowing something from down here. And they end up just wanting to pretty much end it all, so I don't recommend it. I mean, you can do it. You can do it. Yeah, chat never ends. You guys are super chatty today and very interesting, so it's, it's stalling me on Mr. Koala. But that's all right. That's all right. I'm all right. I am feeling kind of chatty today myself. I said, always on the day before a vacation or leaving town, I always kind of feel like it's a Friday, and so it's more relaxed for me. So I'm looking forward to going wherever I'm going. It's in the UK, it has no stock. Yeah, which makes sense because they're going to sell out there, and then it takes us a whole week to ship them stuff. So that is the rough part of doing the UK thing. I'm just going to block this in. Some of this is sculpted pretty close, so I have to kind of keep an eye on where my sculpt is here. There we go. When something is sculpted in really shallow relief, sometimes it can be a little hard to spot where it is. Little squiggly. Are there kid-friendly things to do? Somewhat, Josie. We often have, I think it's Tish Wolter, who actually has kids and who she's taught her daughters to paint. Tish will usually run at least one kid-friendly class, like mini painting for kids.
I love Tish. She's
Tish
awesome.
is fantastic, and she's a great teacher for that level too.
She is.
As well as being just a fantastic painter in general.
And she's incredibly, from what I can tell, kind and patient, which is what you want for kids.
Yeah, she really is.
She's done a very good job.
Yeah, so usually that if we have that, it's Tish who's offering it. I mean, a lot of instructors are kind of not comfortable teaching kids, and it is definitely a specialized skill set. So usually when we do have classes like that offered, it is a parent, painter who is also a parent who has taught their own kids to paint.
Hey, David, the same guy who painted the skeletons, I forget his last name. Cecil.
Yeah.
Also did some of the classes, and they ran a D&D game for the kids that wanted to use their minis during that D&D game.
Oh, there you go. So what Collins said. So David Cecil ran a D&D game for kids and a painting class for them where they could paint their characters and then they gamed with them. So that's a cool thing too. Yeah, David is also a very patient and nice guy. So
better known as Lord Dave, I believe, on Twitch.
Ah. He's upgraded himself to a lord? Wow. Do I have to curtsy?
He wore a kilt last time, so.
Well,
that's
there
true.
we go.
He did wear a kilt. Now, David's super cool.
No, David is super cool. He watches the stream every once in a while. And has very nice things to say about my teaching, so I always appreciate him. There we go. We've got our little pattern tricked out. Now you could just choose to do this pattern in just raised terracotta, in which case I probably, at that point I might have used the terracotta or the redstone shadow to do this block in, because then you could leave that there and it would look like natural shadow instead of I'm using this because I'm going to change colors. Reaper Collins left the room, Planer, so I'm sure he'll see you. He'll see your question.
But yes, he was on Discord.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Tish is very, very good with the younger kids. Do I have a general guideline for where I start my minis? Almost always skin first, magnetic Gumby. And I do a weird thing where I tend to paint, just like I did on Koala here, where I finished one area and moved on to the next. That is actually what I tend to do in my regular painting. Because often I'm painting and, I have a full-time job, I have to do the Patreon, and then I'm doing, my painting, and I want to feel like I'm finishing things. So for me, doing a small area and finishing it to the tops before I move on to the next area helps me feel like I'm getting things done. It keeps me painting. So I paint in sections, just like I do here on stream. This is actually very close to what I usually do. And it is purely because otherwise I would feel, if I was just base coating the whole model, I would feel like I didn't get anywhere and I didn't like how it looked and all this stuff. So essentially that is my tactic, and I usually do start with skin. I don't think if... The only thing that would make me not start with skin is if there was very little skin on the model and something else was taking up a lot of space on the model, like armor. Then I might do the armor first. Like I did a warrior for Dark Sword who's an African skin tone ethnicity warrior, and he's a knight in full plate, and so I actually did the plate first, I think, because it was everywhere, and I wanted to nail the NMM. I just put a little bit of a mix of redstone and walnut together to kind of outline the shadow on the underside of that rim on the pot. I think I need a little bit of a highlight. One of the things you can use to highlight terracotta or redstone is yellow. Might just add a little bit of clear yellow to it. Especially if it's a sunny day, you'll get a golden highlight. I think measuring things in 4 scales would confuse the vast majority of the universe, and, you know, I'm all for that. Because when people are confused, they think I'm more outside of the box. All right, doing some yellow, and I'll show you what that color looks like. So when I added clear yellow, it still like relates, but it's slightly lighter. I could also add a little bit more white to it. I might just do this color and then I'll maybe add some white for highlights. But so when you're dealing with, I mean, this is really a reddish orangey kind of off color, right? So if you add yellow to it, it's just going to bring it more toward orange, which is how I would normally highlight reds. So that's what my thought process. Hey, Cornico. Maybe not for you, Malin. Maybe you think outside of the box so much that for you getting into the box would be weird. Oh yeah, and that MG photo's got a good point too, is the vendors really love seeing the kids. I mean, we all love seeing the kids. And the painting competition has a category for young painters, so you should totally like get your kids to paint something up for the competition, because they get so excited when they win. It's just wonderful. I love announcing youth winners in the painting competition award ceremony. And everybody always gives them a huge round of applause, so, because our people are awesome. Boop. Gotta paint this side. But yeah, I mean, kids really are like the future of our hobby. So teaching them and getting them excited about it is just worth so much for the continued health of our hobby down the road. I don't remember if we actually had a gold. Yeah, youth award.
We did have a lot.
Yeah. I'd think from age 12 and up is ReaperCon, like the ReaperCon sweet spot. A 10-year-old could still have fun, but a 12-year-old enough that you could do a lot of stuff, and yeah. So yes, you totally. Tish's kids, yeah, Tish Wolter's kids have won a lot of medals because she's been teaching them since they were little. Because of course, you know, mom is painting, so they want to paint. So.
There's a guy who's been there for a couple of years who's brought his kids, and they're really young, and he sits down with them in the paint and take.
Yeah.
Spend some time with them there.
Yeah, that's true. The paint and take is a great way to introduce your kids to painting and have some fun too. Collins has great suggestions. He keeps popping in and making a great suggestion and then disappearing again. I'm going to mix a little white into this terracotta color. Yeah, it varies, Scoops. I started mini painting at age 9 myself, but I've seen in teaching kids and there are some kids that will have more of an attention span like I did at that age. So you kind of have to judge based on the kid, right? Because some kids will be able to handle it at 9, and others definitely need like till 10, 11, 12. But it's certainly possible for a 9-year-old to do well. Well, and ReaperCon also has a lot of shiny things going on, so not to mention the video game arcade. I'm going to highlight the edge of that pot to make it stand out. Malin, if you were a cat, I bet you could find a way to fit. Yeah, Evermeet, exactly. There are some kids that just have an attention span a little bit earlier than others. I mean, it's just a natural thing, right? It's everybody's psyche is a little bit different. Everybody matures at different rates. Everybody, has a different sort of zen. So some kids just are really good at sitting and focusing, and others won't get there until a little bit later, and that's okay. I mean, and focus also, to be fair, you can build focus, right? It's not just something you're born with. It's something you practice and get better at. So I think some of it is, too, in what your kids naturally like to do. A kid that likes to sit and read might have slightly better focus at a younger age than a kid who likes to be out doing things, and switching it up all the time, who doesn't have to focus and get really intensively mentally focused. So... Yeah, exactly. Like little kids who were into Legos and used to spending hours just doing it. Yes, cats are liquid, absolutely. All right. So,
I got a good chuckle out of that, Achilles. That's great. Yeah, I've never heard anyone refer to Girl Scouts as harpies.
Oh no, the cookie harpies.
Because they're targeting his house.
They're
but
sirens.
To be fair, they do that. Like, it's easy, no offense to the Boy Scouts, it's easy for me to say no to popcorn, but those Girl Scout cookies.
They're evil. Tayo Cat, I actually don't use plastic. I use either porcelain or a wet pallet. This is porcelain, actually. So it's a ceramic, and it's sealed. And the great thing about porcelain palettes is that they actually clean up. I can clean up my palette to almost white again after every time I paint. Whereas plastic, the paint will slowly adhere to over time, and you have trouble getting them clean. So that's why I think the porcelain is worth it. I mean, they're more expensive, but not that much more expensive. Like this on Cheap Joe's Art Supply is probably like $8, $9, and you might pay $2 at your local store. But I mean, both of them are under $10, so. Oh yeah, if your daughter's selling them, like, seriously. Yeah, everybody's got the energy to focus when it's something that they are into. Exactly. Yeah, porcelain. Yes, porcelain palettes, so much easier. Just throw it in the sink with some hot water in it and spray it with like Simple Green 409, whatever your average spray cleanser is. Any of that will help to loosen up the paint. Leave it 10-15 minutes, scrub it out with a green scrubby pad, you're fine. And unlike plastic, the green scrubby won't score the surface. And the thing is that when you use a green scrubby pad on plastic, it makes little tiny scratches. That's essentially acting like primer. So your paint is going to get into those little scratches and sink its little claws in, and then it doesn't want to come off your palette. So that's why porcelain is superior to plastic. Yes, paint has claws. I bet you guys didn't know. It's more similar to cats than you think. Like, actually, if you think about it, paint probably is like an inanimate form of cat. I mean, our paint supplies do expand to fill all available space. Paint has little claws that it digs into our clothes and our palettes where it doesn't want to, like, come off. Yeah, no problem, Tayo Cat. Yeah, Dawn, just any soap, any cleanser, it really doesn't matter. Just it helps, along with the hot water, it helps to loosen it up. You have a strong distaste for caramel corn? How about kettle corn, Justin?
I was actually just about to say that. No, my real weakness for popcorn comes from kettle corn. Kettle corn, really good kettle corn.
Which we get here in Texas.
We do is, man.
The stuff at whatever that company is that does it at the Jazz Fest has amazing
Yes,
kettle
they
corn.
do. Do the Boy Scouts have kettle corn?
I don't know.
I don't
Boy
know if
Scouts
they
kind of
do.
get like, it's like Girl Scouts get gypped on all the outdoorsy stuff and Boy Scouts get gypped on the cookies. So it's like.
Hey, but people love that popcorn. I mean, people do.
People that are not me.
Like I was telling Dr. Bob, I'm not a huge fan of my fiance, however, popcorn is like crack to her. And that's no joke. She puts it above every other food on the planet.
Wow.
She could live on popcorn if she couldn't.
Well, it is a grain.
She would try.
It does have protein in it.
Yeah, but she'd end up with scurvy.
Yeah, I suppose. Got to have a little bit of vitamin C. Although our bodies make some vitamin C, I thought. I don't know. Just blocking in some of these little segments that are on the freehand design. I tend to undercoat them in white so that they stand out better. Yes, Princess Zelda. Hey, paint makes us happy and cats make us happy. It's not an insult. I've given my life to paint, for God's sake.
Buck lips. Scurvy ain't so bad. You get used to it.
You acclimate. Somebody actually... Did Ed ever tell that story?
No.
Like the old Reaper stories? I'm not nearly as good at telling the old Reaper stories. Do you guys want to hear a bad old days of the Reaper story?
Yeah, go ahead.
So there was a guy who essentially would spend all his money on like cigarettes and stuff, and didn't save enough money for like real food. Like kept running out of food money. So after Easter, all the Peeps went on sale, and he went and he bought like a metric, like just a huge shopping cart full of Peeps because he figured he could live on those. He actually got scurvy. Reaper employee, yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, remember that story?
I remember
Yes.
You're talking about the caster, right?
Yeah.
The one who was,
I don't remember his name. Skinny blonde guy.
I don't remember his
Smoker.
name either.
They were all smokers back in those days. When the day has Ed mentioned that our his original employment parameter was had to have more teeth than tattoos. He likes to talk about those days. You guys should totally get him on that tonight. Get the bad old days Reaper stories.
Dr. Bob had a good question. Do you paint mechanical minis too? Like Cav minis?
Oh boy, that is probably my weakness. Like if I go slow, I can do it. One of the things that makes it my weakness is that I'm not as comfortable with an airbrush as I could be. And airbrushing is really a way to get a nice even coat on mechanical minis. That said, I know a lot of the weathering techniques, so I can make mechanical things look good once I get the highlights and shadows down appropriately. I just actually made myself buy a science fiction bust that has a firearm so that I could work on some of that machined parts painting stuff, actually, Dr. Bob. That and my Patreon asked for a Sky Earth NMM demo, and she has exposed metal on her like arm and shoulder, so that would be perfect for Sky Earth. I find that Sky Earth NMM, which is like chrome for those of you who aren't familiar with the term, doesn't really carry well for me on fantasy minis. It really wouldn't have been a thing. I mean, they did not have mirror bright polished armor, not really. So for me, I think that Sky Earth really belongs on science fiction or modern. So I thought I would pick up a sci-fi mini and challenge myself a little bit. Let's see here. I'm just catching up on chat a little bit. Peep jousting.
I was gonna say it seems like a strong, almost a unanimous decision in chat here that peeps kind of suck, and I'm not gonna disagree with that. I'm not a big fan of marshmallow unless it's on s'mores. On s'mores. But peeps themselves are very. My grandpa loved them.
There we go.
I find them
pretty
kinda
disgusting.
gross. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I liked super sweet stuff like that, but I've lost the taste for it, especially since I went low carb. I can't have that sugary stuff anymore. It just doesn't taste good to me. All right, we've got a nice highlight on our little pot. We've got all of our little sneaky design kind of underpainted. Why I'm doing this, guys? Spray chestnut sink from below, then spray thin skank. Yeah, Velendar, that's a quick way. Yeah, then you do your edging. You've got to do the edging to get it right. But yeah, absolutely. It doesn't give you like a lot of variation necessarily. Well, I guess if you underpainted it, you could get like kind of shapes in it because chrome really does reflect like the actual sky and the actual earth. I have a fantastic photo that I took while I was sitting in traffic. If you ever get behind a Dodge Ram truck with the big Ram logo on the back and it's a sunny day, take a look at that Ram. It's a fantastic sky earth example. Because it has so many surfaces at so many angles, and so it picks up the ground, and it picks up the sky to the point where you can even see the clouds in the metal. So, Oh, candy corn. I used to really love candy corn, too, and now I'm like, no. And part of it is that Brock's changed their formulation. They actually used to have honey in it, and they don't anymore. So the new candy corn just tastes terrible. It was that honey that gave it the flavor I liked, I realized after I tried candy corn this year and went, oh, they changed it. So anyway, so I did the design and did walnut. Now I underpainted in white. The reason is that when I go in with my green and yellow, or my blue, if that's what I decide to do, I might do blue. I might do blue and yellow to make it match her outfit. Then those colors will show up stronger. Actually, weathering tutorials, I think the better person to do those would be Aaron Lovejoy, if we can get his butt in here with any frequency. I know that Aaron is going to show up and actually take my slot next Thursday. The 30th?
I think it's the 29th or the 30th, one of the 2 days.
Yeah, Wednesday or Thursday you'll be seeing Aaron Lovejoy, and he'll be doing a basic airbrush class, you guys. So you should tune in next week. Like, is it later? Is he doing my 3 o'clock, or is he doing?
He's doing the 11 o'clock.
Doing the 11 o'clock? Okay. So Aaron's going to be
yeah.
in town, and he's an airbrush whiz. And so he agreed to do an airbrush basics class for us at the 11 a.m. slot, and it's either Wednesday or Thursday. So be sure to tune in. If you need basic airbrush tips, he's fantastic. He and Michael Proctor are the two people, but Aaron teaches airbrush a lot at conventions. So do get your butts in and into this chat room and ask him questions, you know, watch how he sets it up. So yeah, definitely tune in. It's either the 29th or the 30th, depends on how, probably on travel and schedules and all that, but so I'm going to mix up some blue so I can just block in my little designs. Yeah, I think he's doing basics, so he'll teach you the setup, the usage, hopefully a little bit of the cleaning, whatever we have time for. Just mixing up my blue. What we advise people to do for cons, guys, is to bring your own airbrush if you're going to take an airbrush class. Often they will say in the class description, the problem is always compressors. If you take one of Caleb and Kat's, I think it's CK Painting, if you ever take one of their classes, like an Adepticon, they actually have a huge setup with air tanks for every table. And they'll I think they even provide basic airbrushes because they get a lot of product support from companies. But here we usually, like, we might have a couple of extra compressors, but you might want to bring your own airbrush so you can try out stuff. But actually that'd be a good thing to ask Aaron. And even to ask Ed if Reaper could provide more compressors for airbrush classes, or I'm not certain what the state is because I don't teach them, so just blocking in every other little bit with blue. And then we'll do yellow in the other ones. And I can see right now that my blue is very close in shade to my terracotta, so it's hard to see. So what I will do is actually grab my Surf Aqua and make sure I highlight it. Yeah, some people take to the airbrush and just want to do everything with it. And some people just, it takes, you know, like for me, I feel like it's a pain, but it really is because I can do it so much with the brush. I'm so comfortable with the brush. So I have to question how much value I really get out of it. That said, I do own 2 airbrushes now and a compressor, all the stuffs. So I have, and even a portable little vent fan thing to blow airbrush into. So I really have, and a ventilator mask. I own all the things at this point, so I should really make myself get crazy good with it or something. I don't know. There's so many things I'd like to get better at in this hobby that it's hard to choose sometimes, like what to focus on. Like, I'd really like to get better at vehicles, and I probably am a little more interested in getting better at vehicles than in getting really good at airbrushing, but they kind of work together too, so. Although I'm pretty picky about my vehicles as far as what I find interesting. Badger gives Adepticon supplies to set up an airbrush classroom. Don't know that ReaperCon has enough airbrush classes to dedicate an entire room. Good point. We do usually put all the airbrush classes in a room, but not all classes in that room are airbrush classes. Good point, Rhonda. Because I'm sure that with our relationship with Badger being so good lately, we could possibly get that kind of support if there was enough, and if there were enough people to teach airbrush. Just trying to highlight my little blue segments here so that you guys can actually see them. They're coming out a little bit better now. Yeah, Twisted Oma, the thing is that we need more instructors who are expert in airbrush. Right now, we have Michael Proctor, but a lot of his time is taken up with the Master Series Open Painting Competition, and usually he doesn't do an airbrush class. He does a lot of other, like his shade of metallics and his basing classes, which are really popular and stuff like that. So he hasn't really gotten into the airbrushing. And Caleb and Kat, since we were scheduled, since ReaperCon happens right now at the same time as another con that they go to, they haven't been able to make it. And the date isn't good. A lot of our instructors who normally are like whizzes with airbrush are just not able to make it to ReaperCon right now because of timing. So if you want to do airbrush classes, if you feel like you're good enough at airbrush to teach it, and if you're a good enough teacher to teach, remember that ReaperCon does kind of lay itself open. After we get our initial classes set up, we do open up any remaining slots to people who just want to teach. So if you think you can hack it, people, if you're ready, you can always watch for when that bulletin goes up for open class submissions. And we do the class schedule, so it's not like you could like claim a room, is the thing to remember. But if you wanted to do 4 airbrush classes, you could essentially say in your write-up, or put a note in your write-up saying, hey, can we put me in, the same room? But even then, that wouldn't be enough. Like, we've got a classroom takes up at least 4 classes a day. So, I mean, that's 16 classes over the course of the con. That's a lot of airbrush classes to have to be able to provide. And it means less of other subjects. So people who don't have any interest in airbrushing, that takes away a big slot of classes that they might have otherwise been interested in taking. So it's a balance, right? Although I think airbrushing is getting more popular, and certainly popular enough in our hobby now that we should actually look at having one room, if we find enough instructors, have one room just for airbrush techniques would make sense to me, especially with the big support from Badger and the airbrush collaboration and everything. So makes sense to me to embrace that. I'm just getting all the other little points. Now, at the part of the tree that's going to be pressed up against her, and we can tell which part of the tree that is because of this little flat area on the top, I'm not going to sit and highlight all of these little blue and yellow things because they're going to be in shadow, right? They're going to be up against her dress here. You can see where the side of the pot slots in. So because of that, I'm not going to waste a lot of time doing those highlights because you wouldn't see highlights on that surface because it's turned away from the light and it's up against her. So we really just need to block those in. And add a little bit. There. Ah! I'm just going to dump my water all over everything, apparently. It's one of those days. And we got to mix up some yellow. I've got to have all sorts of colors all over my palette by the end of this. I want to start on some green, though, because I don't want to spend all my time doing just the pattern. And we did spend a lot of time chatting. And this is supposed to be like, our fast stream. Ha 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 ha. That's funny. All right. So let us talk a little bit then about, we'll put our pot aside. Pot, go to the side. So I want to do the green leaves here, and she has more eucalyptus leaves up there. And I'm going to put the green also in these little checks on her bottom of her dress. So we're going to get on that. Actually, in our classrooms, in the classrooms are quite large. And we can use little small portable hoods. They make them, Sigwolf. So that's entirely doable. You could also bring a mask if you're paranoid. It's the back of the Christmas tree syndrome. Yes, Dr. Bob, exactly. Yeah, I mean, they make little portable vent hoods now for airbrushing. I have one. It's very small. It sets up really well. And yeah, exactly. See, that's the downside. That's why I think most airbrush classes are just demo at this point. At least at ReaperCon, it's not like the better venue for hands-on is going to be like a seminar style thing where it's an airbrushing seminar for like one day. That's going to be the better format maybe for something hands-on where everybody has their own airbrush, everybody has a thing. Because then you essentially have the instructor demo and then everybody goes and does their stuff. So the instructor's not necessarily talking over you. And if the instructor comes over to look at your stuff and give you feedback, then you can shut off your equipment so that they can actually talk to you. I think that's a better format for hands-on, for everybody hands-on airbrushing. And that's more like Sergio did on his second day, was airbrushing for our seminar. All right, so I'm base coating with a mixture. It's actually leaf green, haha, mixed with a little bit of its highlight. Probably a 3-to-1, like 3 drops of leaf green to 1 drop of pale green, 90-12. Let's get our skews up here. So these are good colors if you're working with a more naturalistic palette. I mean, it gives us a nice, you can see that green stands out really nicely on her belt, stands out from the yellow, and stands out from the blue, which you want. When class sign-up start, we have not even, because it's in early September, we're like almost, like we're more than 8 months out. So class sign-ups aren't going to start until I think March. I mean, we've tried to get them going pretty early, but I would be surprised. Usually March, we try to get them going and finalized like 3-4 months before. So I'm going to use this same green. Now that I know that it goes with everything really well, I'm going to use this same green down here to fill in our little checks. Yeah, so don't quote me on that. I know Adrian likes to kind of start the classroom process, process like around February, but that'll be like the first round of emails go out to our existing instructors. And then they have some time, usually they have a month to enter in their classes. And after that is when we start laying it opening up for other people. But our existing instructors do get like first rights on spaces. Once you're an existing instructor, you also end up in that email chain. So, but I know that they're still talking about like how many classes people have to teach to get the full ride this year and stuff like that. So, there. I think that green and yellow and blue looks really good. Snaztastic. Because you want your green to be dark enough to stand out from the yellow, but you also want it light enough that it stands out against the blue. And I think we have a perfect synergy here with this mixture. Yeah, usually our meeting room gets co-opted. Like we've had Jeremy teach here, we've had Sergio teach here, and usually we had used our back conference room for the seminar room since we don't use it on the weekends. There have been people asking like if I would teach actual seminars on the weekends as well, but that's when Paint Club goes on, and we don't want to take space away from Paint Club and stuff like that. So that and to be frank, I work 6 days a week if you count Paint Club, and so teaching takes a lot of energy, and so it would be a big, heavy emotional and energy commitment for me to teach on the weekends. Because in-person teaching always drains me a lot more than teaching on like my Patreon. I love teaching on video, actually. I think it's super fun. And it does not drain my energy the way that in-person teaching does. Although I've been thinking about offering like one-day seminars on specific topics. They would not be free though. And that would be me rather than Reaper thinking about doing that. It would be an independent and project. All right, so that green looks really good, I think. I really like it. Yay, green. Oh, we forgot our leaves, our snack pack on the back. Calamity Vein, it's both, actually. If you paint a bunch of different minis, especially if you focus specifically on brush control, painting a lot will get you to a certain point with brush control and speed of application. It will also give you a little bit of paint consistency understanding. But after that, then I would say focus on quality if you want to get better. Because there is only a certain amount that you will learn or evolve if you are just painting a ton of miniatures, but not really concentrating on getting better. Your brush control will naturally improve no matter what you're painting after a certain point. But it will, you'll never get like super fine detail just by rushing out paint jobs. Like you'll never get that super fine motor control. Unless you do other like fine detail stuff and you already have it. But I found that when I started out painting models for D&D or BattleTech or, then Warhammer, but I got a lot better when I stopped and slowed down and started paying attention to paint consistency and what I was doing and learning new techniques. That's when I got a lot better. Like, I could only get to a certain point painting armies. Hey, we do not want to be rolling on the mutation table every time we take your class trash. Yeah, Dr. Bob is correct. The more you paint, the better you get. But at some point, I think it really is like, to get beyond a certain point, you gotta actually start kind of concentrating on noticing what you're doing, learning from what you're doing. The way that I did it is I got pretty much like a high-end tabletop level painting my armies and painting, I would paint other people's generals for them for money when I was back in college working at the game store. So I got to a certain point doing that, but only when I really started sitting down and going, okay, I'm going to paint this face and I'm going to make it the best face I've ever painted, and really paying attention to how to do that. That was when I got beyond. That was when I got to the point where I thought that I could enter Golden Demons and win. So it's all in your personal goals. It is all in what you eventually want to do. And painting a bunch of models is never a bad idea to start with. Yeah, deliberate practice. It's the same everywhere, like non-zero value, right? It's like all those studies of how you get good at something. It doesn't matter what that something is. That something could be computer programming. That something could be, sewing. That something could be all sorts of playing an instrument. But you only get beyond a certain point of proficiency if you set out to become better and to deliberately practice what you are doing. That said, you can get pretty darn good, in general, just through painting and paying attention. Progress, not perfection. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'm not perfect. There are models that I have painted, very few models that I have painted, where I felt like I got close to, as good as I wish that it would be. But even those models, I could still see places that I would want to improve. All right, let's just put our trees leaves on. And with something tiny like these leaves, they're tiny little boops on this tree, little bubbles. I definitely would use, this is one of those rare instances where I would use a wash. So I actually might lighten. When you're doing washes, start lighter if you want more drama. So if you want things to really stand out, like I think I'll make a new puddle over here and add more pale green. Because the lighter of a base coat you have, the more your wash will show up. You don't want to go too crazy or it doesn't look realistic, but I think this is a good color. It is still noticeably different than this. It's kind of a nice spring green. like, I think the model that I probably got closest to being exactly the way I wanted it to be was my sacrifice bust that I entered at Crystal Brush. Because I was trying to, that was the most recent, like, and trying to paint to, like, international level standard model. And I think, I feel like I got close. There are still things, tiny little things, that I wish I could have done more on or done a little bit different. But it's knowing when to put the brush down. And when to put the brush down is, am I happy with it, right? Unless you have a specific goal in mind, then it's, have I met that goal? And the goal shouldn't be to be perfect. The goal should be, to make this freehand look really good, or, to make this skin tone be the best I've done. There is no perfect. There is no perfect, but it does not mean you should not strive to be all you want to be. That said, if all you want to do is paint for games, do it. Rock your bad self. There are definitely hobbies I have where I just do not want to excel at them. I just want to be like, I just want to have fun with them. Bowling, playing pool. I am a terrible bowler, actually. I'm a better pool player, but I'm very, very erratic. Although my brother calls me a shark. I can't think what he's saying. I would never. Yeah, Rings has a good point. There is no wrong way to miniature paint. In fact, if you talk to all of us at ReaperCon, we will all tell you different things to do. And none of us are just like, practice makes perfect. Practice makes, like, getting close to your idea of perfect. Perfect is like, There we go. Now we have a nice little tree. Yay, tree. I'm going to put tree down so that its foliage can dry. I missed a spot, so I'm going to hit it. There we go. So little tree. I'm going to sit down here and dry. And I'm going to block in this dark area here between her pan and where the pot is going to do. How can I be from Wisconsin and not be good at bowling? Oh no, that's the only reason I bowl at all, D. Clearman, is that I'm from Wisconsin. The only reason. But remember, I'm not a native Wisconsinian. I was born in California, so that's probably why it is a happy little tree. It's probably why I'm deficient in the bowling department. But with pool playing, I played all through college. My friends that I hung out with loved to play, and I actually grew up with a pool table in my basement. Basements, a thing we do not have in Texas. I miss them so much. But yeah, I can bowl, but I don't often bowl at, like over 110 game, right? I'm like barely able to stop from throwing the ball down throwing it badly down the lane. I'm definitely not a good bowler. But I still enjoy it. Like, that's the key, right? It's like, you don't have to be awesome at everything you do. You can honestly just enjoy it, even if you're not that good at it. I think that's part of, like, evolving. Now, do be aware, though, of, like, when it's just the easy road. Like, if you really do want to be good at mini painting, don't, like, catch yourself going, oh, well, I didn't really want that anyway, I don't have to be awesome, Don't catch yourself, like, not pushing yourself just because you're afraid of failing. Don't do that. So sometimes we have to kind of, like, look at ourselves pretty close to see if, like, we're honestly just having fun and don't care how far we get, or we really secretly wish we could get better, but we're kind of afraid of looking bad or failing, so we don't. So there's a lot of that in the world. So if you really want to do it, go for it. Who cares if you fall on your face and look a little silly or make mistakes? Nobody should ever tell you that you're too old for something either. I didn't start really... Julia Child didn't start cooking till she was 45, for God's sakes. So it's not too late for a lot of this stuff. If you are in your 60s or 70s and you just picked up a brush for the first time, that does not mean you cannot get awesome at mini painting, or at least as awesome as you want to be. Ha, beer and bowling, the ice, yes, the winter weather. 5-pin bowling. That's so weird. Oh yeah, snooker. That was like very Canadian. My Canadian boyfriend taught me about snooker. I still don't remember it very well. There was a Canadian boyfriend during college, and I learned about Canadian things from him. Like we went to a Bare Naked Ladies concert before they were popular. Yeah, she was in the Secret Service during World War II. Julia Child was. She was a fascinating personality, and she definitely tackled life on her terms, which I totally respect. She's one of my idols. I own 2 biographies of her, and also her My Life in France autobiography, and her cookbooks. In fact, Julia is probably responsible for me learning to cook in my 40s, because I was not a great cook previously. I could bake, but I was not a great cook. But I'm going to line around these little plants. Just put in a dark shadow to make them stand out even more. Right, exactly, Dr. Bob, yes. If nobody saw you make a mistake, did you make it? No one knows. Yes, and also a great one for, you know, half the wine goes in the food and half of it goes into you. There we go. Did that. She's looking really good. Oh, I also didn't use my walnut to get the handle of the shovel. I always, whenever there's a staff or a handle or anything like that, I always paint it dark. And the reason is that I don't need your eyes like looking at it. It's not really important. I'll make some shiny little fixtures for it. But right now, that handle itself is not really important. So I will do the dark thing to detract interest from it. And if I want to get a little more visual interest, then I'll do some wood grain later on, but that'll be toward the end. Yeah, I used to watch her on PBS too. So you suck at cooking, yeah. Ah! As I drop the koala. It's one of those days, guys. It just is. All right, I want to get some yellow. I want to like block in the little details down on the bottom of the pot with yellow, and then I want to glue the tree onto this koala before the end of this show. Wow, we've gone long on this, guys. Apologies for the very long stream. Hope nobody is like tremendously bored. But I will try to at least finish this little base here. I will get enough onto the tree to glue it on the koala. Oh, and I do want to put a wash on those leaves. Are they dry? Yeah, but I probably don't want to wash it before I finish this little. Getting my little Palomino gold. Remember, the yellow ochre is great for this because it turns bright yellow over white, and it also covers really well. You just paint along. Great. Great. Yeah, it looks like broccoli, doesn't it? Instead of the broccoli base, we have the broccoli tree. But it's hard to sculpt tiny leaves. And again, on the back of the pot, we don't need it. Ah! I am just going to drop things today. This is my MO. Let's see. And Justin is probably just sleeping because now the rest of the room is dark. So he can just nap over there and nobody would know.
Napping with no pants.
Yes, well, that's you. That's Justin's MO. If you ever start your own like videography company, Justin, it has to be No Pants Productions.
You know, what's funny is I've already started one of those like 10 years ago.
And that was its name?
No, it was called Sly Fidelity.
Oh, you totally needed to be No Pants Productions.
But now, yes, I think it would be No Pants Productions.
NPP, NPP. All right. That'll work for now. Because remember, we don't need to highlight the back side of it, and I can now glue the tree after I do its wash. I can glue the tree up against the koala because I still have, time at that point to highlight the yellow on the outside. So let's do that wash. Let's grab some pine green, which of course is in the same triad, and plop it over there, and give it some water, and grab some brush-on sealer.
Yeah, future trouble. We'll call it no PP for short. That's perfect.
No PP. Oh, great.
That is spot on.
Doing our little wash creation here. There we go. Oh, I have a chunk in there. Just won't use the chunk. There we are. Yeah. Yeah, that is true. We'd have to check for cultural cross references. Grab a bunch of green. Make our little leaflets stand out. Leaflets. Get all the leaflets. Get them all. Don't miss any. It really looks like broccoli now. Get the backside. There we go. This is one of those few circumstances that I would use a wash just because it's a small detail. I need to bring out all these little features. It's not on a big surface, and it actually is saving me a little time. I will need to go back and highlight some of the leaflets, but yeah, it sounds familiar. There was definitely something about Pants Productions, Vigo's Peeps. Now I have to wait for it to dry. Tiny edible trees, yes. Yeah, worldwide pants. Well, I mean, there are plenty of things in the English language that mean something totally different than what they sound like, so. Yeah, you're right. Worldwide Pants was David Letterman's production company. Be careful with the blow dryer rings because actually if it's too warm, it can actually shift the color of paint. Now, if you understand how it shifts the color, then maybe it doesn't matter. But yeah, adding heat while you dry paint can sometimes cause a color shift. There we go. We're letting our broccoli dry. I mean, tiny tree. Oh, okay. Yep. So no underwear day definitely has a different connotation. Wouldn't you say, Justin? Okay.
Yeah, we'll
point.
go with that.
If you don't use heat, you don't have to worry about it, rings.
That's called going commando here. The broccoli is drying. I like it though. It's a pretty color. And I think it looks like a tiny tree. So yay! So I'm going to glue. Do we have glue? We actually do have Loctite super glue right here. Conveniently, I can glue the tree to the koala. My broccoli is almost dry. I'm going to grab this, put a little dot of super glue on her paw and on her cheek where the tree goes, and onto this little divot where the pot goes. Boop. Now we will insert tree into spot, making sure that the smooth part of the tree that's supposed to be up against her face is positioned properly, and kind of make sure we've got her positioned correctly. And now we have a little hope with her tiny tree. We didn't get to highlighting all of our green today, but tiny cup of ranch dressing to go with the broccoli. Yay! There aren't, but there are bigger clusters, so you could choose to make their holly berries on there non-zero value.
Although the leaves really aren't holly shaped, but eh. So she's adorable, as you can see. Totally, totally cute. So I'd go through and I'd clean up my little details on the pot, and obviously I need to shade and highlight the eucalyptus leaves, but I think that's a pretty good stopping point for today. Maybe I'll also do next week's Tuesday. Maybe I can finish her up then. Yeah, she is adorable. There you go.
All right.
Doop doo doo. We didn't get to the leather today, so I'll have to do leather next time if we do it again.
Yeah, we can knock it out next week.
Yeah,
I think,
mean,
right?
it's all, I was going to make all the pouches almost the same color, although I'll probably throw some black ones in there. But yeah, so there she is. We're getting along. She's cute. She's adorbs. You know, you all need one, or 2, or 5. I wouldn't go green leather, especially not with the leaves up against it. Yes, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I hope you had a great day. I'm going to have a long weekend, so I'm happy. Freezing my butt off in Yosemite. Hi, everybody. So, yes, tiny koala. So cute. Yeah, Non-Zero. Those are more eucalyptus leaves. Snack pack. So, Jason Weepy Sculpt. There's got to be snack packs. I hope you guys had fun.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It was a pretty
guys.
chill morning up here. I don't know, having the room dark and just having the spotlights is like, kind of like, you know, oh, it's kind of just a sleepy show. Awesome sauce, yes. Thanks, safe travels. Thanks, Dumbat.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I have a
Thank you,
raid lined up for you
Piscadoma.
guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Don't forget, we have
I think we
painting.
have too many snack packs for no cookies.
We have painting platinum at 3 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, Sadie's on at 3
And
with
then
Painting Platinum.
Reaper Live at 6.
Yes, yes. Come and heckle Ed.
All right, guys. Well, I have a raid set up here.
All right, who are we rating?
We are rating C-Knot.
Ooh, awesome. Super fantastic.
Yes. So thank you guys for coming out, and
You're
hopefully we'll
welcome,
see you at
mister.
3 o'clock today.
I will. Reaper is my addiction. I love national parks.
You guys
Busy
just
day.
keep being awesome. Spread the Reaper love.
Yeah, spread the Reaper love.
All right, guys. Have a great day.
Have a lovely day.